because obviously it's a new stream. Let's see. I'm going to have to end. See, can you see me? I'm actually double streaming now. I'm so advanced. There's another stream live on my channel, which you should be able to join, hopefully, if things go correctly. Hey, Amelie. Oh, nice to see you. Join the other stream and we'll talk about it. I'm gonna end this stream and then go to the other one that's on my phone. Hopefully that works. Yes, Amelie, nice. You made it work. Perfect. Yeah, I have no idea what's wrong with. Wait, sorry about this. It's just so messy. Okay, I think this is one of the most chaotic streams I've had. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. I don't understand it. I never have. I think this is one of the first times I've ever had lag. There might be that they have a problem with the internet. Sometimes that happens that they have some kind of lag with the fiber, and then this is happening. So I don't know why it happened, but this works. Yeah, this is it's behind the scenes. How you see my studio setup. It's like this. I have like the lights here, and I sit there with my computer. And this is like my little cozy, comfy place. But it's like this works as well. We'll just maybe the sound isn't so good, but at least we'll be able to have the stream. And it was such a shame because I had all these thoughts before, like, oh, this is so nice. It's gonna be nice to have the stream again because I've really been enjoying my. Sometimes meditation gets really everyday-ish kind of. It doesn't like I do it so often that I don't think about it, but it's been really fun the last few days, and I've enjoyed it a lot. So I thought I was looking forward to coming live and talking to everyone. This is a new way for me to stream. It seems to work pretty okay. I should do this outside one time. That would be actually really nice. And I should get one of those. I mean, I have a tripod like that. Amelie, you were asking a question. What was it you said? Can't see it now, but something about monk, my monk years. I don't know exactly what it was. How do I see? Ah, it's cool. It's actually coming up when everyone's chatting. It's kind of seeing here on the bottom. Yeah, how come you aren't a monk anymore? So, I was ordained for 6 years, and most of that time was spent in Sri Lanka. Yeah, I think most of that time was in Sri Lanka. And I think you have to understand why I became a monk to begin with. I didn't become a Buddhist monk because I was a Buddhist. I actually just had a talk before this with a group of people who do YouTube, and we were discussing it. I'm saying it's difficult for me because YouTube doesn't know where to place me. I am not a Buddhist guy, kind of. I'm not the Buddhist guy. You come here and you want to learn about Buddhism. Even though I teach Buddhist stuff sometimes, and even though I do a lot of practices from Buddhism, I don't consider myself a Buddhist. When I was ordained as a Buddhist monk, I didn't consider myself a Buddhist then either. I always saw being a monk as a vehicle, a platform on which you can practice and discover yourself. That was why I became a monk, because it's not that it's a religious thing, which it is for many people. A lot of people are ordained because for them it's a religious thing. They become monks because it's what you're supposed to do, or because if I do that, then I have the best chance possible to be reincarnated into a higher level of existence next lifetime. And they have all these ideas, but I never had that. I had a very fundamental problem that I wanted to solve that was really, really annoying, and that is still a problem for me, but it doesn't feel like a problem as much anymore as it did before. And that problem was that I didn't do. Hey, mindfulness. Hi, mindful mama, my fiance. I didn't know what to do with my life, and I thought that if I could just find the perfect job, if I could just find the perfect partner, the perfect house, the perfect children, then I would get some kind of reward if I would just find those things. And the reason I became ordained as a monk was because I thought, well, these people here around me, they don't know how to do that, so the monks must know, right? And I became ordained, and then the monks, what they did basically was, well, more people need to become Buddhist, more people need to meditate, more people need to be happy. Sorry, need to do the meditation and their practice. And if they don't do that, then I don't allow myself to be happy. So I found that monasticism did more towards religion than actually practicing, the way it was from the beginning, where you became a monk because you wanted to get liberated. You had a problem and you wanted to solve it. That's not quite what it is anymore. Oh, thank you. I think that is the first time anyone has ever done a donation on the stream. I really appreciate that. I'll get to that question after. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, people had a problem that they wanted to figure out what to do with their lives, because we all have this, right? The feeling of, I don't feel okay, there is something wrong, I need to and we believe if we could just find my purpose, we try all these things, and then becoming a monk would be a way to get away from this world, kind of all of the society and the way we do things, to do something else. And I did that, and I found it absolutely incredible. I found being able to use that vehicle as a means to practice, because I was able to meditate non-stop. I mean, literally, I was meditating at the most, I think it was up to 16 hours. And it is really difficult to do anything. I mean, 15, 16 hours. It is really difficult to do anything for 15 or 16 hours, because you need to sleep, you need to eat, you need to go to the bathroom, you need to take a shower, you need to rest. And there's just not that much time left. But there are centers that just focus so heavily on the meditation part, and they allow you to do that. As a monk, I could go from center to center to practice that. Now, after a few years, I had lost the need to find out who I am, the need to find out what my purpose was, the need to figure out what happened before life or after life, or what I was supposed to do with my life. And I was okay with just being. And that's when I started feeling that I probably don't need to be a monk anymore, because that emptiness that needed to be filled, the search for something outside of me or even inside of me that was supposed to fix me, that was gone. And since that was gone, it didn't make much sense, as much sense to be a monk anymore. And I was very tired of the religious parts of being a monk. There is a lot of religion to Buddhism, unfortunately. It didn't start out as a religion, but it became a religion. And a lot of people practice Buddhism as if though it is a religion, because that's the easiest way to do it, kind of. So, yeah, I think I stopped because I felt I had gotten what I wanted to learn from being a monk. And the next step, the natural step, was to go into society and really put all that into practice. Because it's one thing to sit at a center where everyone serves you food, you don't need to clean your own dishes even in some places, or like everything is taken care of for you, and you can just focus on the meditation. That's kind of like cheating. Then you need to apply that in daily life. So that's why I went back, and I was fortunate enough to meet my fiance, and we have 2 kids and a house. So there's plenty of stuff to look at. That's not something I feel like. I remember when I was in Plumelish the last few, which is in France, by the way. I'm assuming you're French, in Bordeaux. when I was walking around, like I just feel good. I don't really have any difficult stuff coming up. I need to introduce some distortion into my life. So that's a long-winded answer as to why I stopped being a monk. Let's see what Az is saying here. A question that has been on my oh, by the way, mindful mama, the live stream. There's something wrong with our Wi-Fi, so for some reason I couldn't keep on streaming, so I started this stream instead. Az is saying, a question that has been on my mind is what the actual difference between meditation and just regular blissing out is. These days I just sit and chill. Difference between meditation and just regular blissing out. Okay, so when you say, because that depends on what your answer will be, when you say blissing out, can you describe that more? How aware are you of your surroundings and what exactly is happening when you're blissing out? The term meditation in Buddhism is bhavana. Bhavana means to develop the mind. So the idea is that you do exercises to make your mind stronger. It's the analogy of sharpening an axe. Let's see if I can see if there's more. Can I see more chats now? Let's see if you write something else. The analogy of like you have an axe and you're going to cut down a tree. Instead of hammering at the tree, you sharpen the axe, so you have an easier time cutting down the tree. It's a little bit similar to that. Meditation is a way of training your mind to be aware. And the question I'm asking, like, what do you mean by blissing out, is because people have different purposes behind why they meditate. Some people want to meditate because they want to be better at their work. They want to get into the flow state, or they want to improve their athletic abilities. They have all these ideas of what they want to do through meditation. And if that is your purpose, let's see, then blissing out is not quite what you're supposed to do. So like, I came from the Vipassana practice of concentration on one particular, yeah, exactly, the breath, and just produced these awful electrical tensions in my head. Yes. By the way, it is Az that I'm talking to, right? Just so I'm aware. So now I just sit and relax, and I'm generally aware of nothing in particular. Do you feel like you zone out and you're not aware of being alive? Or because you can have bliss out when you just kind of zoomed away and it's just like nice feelings, or are you really present and aware, but it's just, yeah, good. Just general mass of sensations. That sounds really good, because ultimately what meditation is, again, from my perspective, what we're trying to do here is that we're not trying to achieve any state or stage, but while we meditate, many times we get states and stages that are really comfortable. We get states and stages that are just blissful and outwardly and really bizarre at times as well. And they just happen, but they're not quite the point. They're just something that kind of happens along the journey. So the bliss in and of itself is not necessarily something important. But if you can just sit down and you feel relaxed and you really enjoy being there, which I know we've been talking about, then that sounds perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. Ultimately, you want to learn, how do I learn to allow myself to feel joy and just enjoy sitting here? Because we're so used to coming up with all these reasons why it's not okay to feel good. If you talk to someone about, oh yeah, I'm focusing on just enjoying life and being happy, it's like, oh no, you can't do that. Like, it's almost like people are offended when you say you want to focus on being happy and enjoying being alive, because imagine all the bad things in the world. What kind of person would I be if I felt good while all this bad stuff is happening in the world, while there are people suffering? No, you should feel bad as well. It's insensitive not to feel bad. What if someone around you, something bad happens to them? Should you feel good then also? That brings into light this idea of a self that we're trying to protect, an identity that is struggling with the world around it when it doesn't align to what we want it to do, the world around us, what we want the world around us to be. And if you can learn to really just do what you said, just sit down, and I wouldn't normally call it bliss out, because the idea is not to stop sensing what is happening here, which is a really like a concentration state where you go in and you kind of bliss out and you go, ooh, that's nice. And that can be really nice, but you're not aware what's happening around you. You can do those things for sure, but ultimately you want to use that awareness to then be aware, what is happening here around me, what's going on around me, what am I experiencing? And that is, yeah, where you want to go. So if the focus should be on just focusing on feeling good, I'm wondering what the difference is between just going for a nice bike ride and meditation. If you really enjoy, yeah, okay, that's a better question. That's an easier question to answer. It's not a better question. Meditation is when you sit still and learn how to be aware. It's practice, hard focus practice. You limit your sensory input by usually closing your eyes, sitting still, so that you can learn to be aware of what's happening inside of you. But meditation in of itself doesn't really do much, because you can sit and meditate and stuff happens, and sure, it can change things, but ultimately you want to use that meditation to go out into daily life and take a bike ride and really enjoy that bike ride. The problem is that with most people take a bike ride, they get so focused on where they're going, on enjoying like the bike they have. I should have a better bike, or like, what is it like around me? Oh, I don't like that house. In other words, we start coming up with all these things that distract us from really enjoying being here. But if you're able to take a bike ride and focus on enjoying the bike ride, that's ultimately what you want to do. I, Again, it depends on who you talk to, the definition of meditation, but from what you and I have been talking about and what we talk about here, which is that we're not here. I mean, most people are not here because they want to become masters of meditation and achieve these like high concentration states. You're here because you want to feel better. You're here because you want to enjoy being alive. The idea that we should go through our whole lives not feeling good, waiting for something to happen, is insane and absurd. And most people are here figure that out, and they want to understand, how do I do more of that? So, yeah. Does that answer the question? Let's see, Amelie is saying, I once had an outer body experience while meditating. Is that good or bad? It's neither. It's just an experience. It depends on what you do with it. What can happen is that when you have an outer body experience, people can get very attached to that experience, and they feel, oh, I'm very special now. I've attained something, and they kind of give up practicing because now it just builds the ego, like, oh, I'm so special. This is so nice. Oh, I haven't heard anyone else have out-of-body experiences. I must be really good at this meditation. But maybe I am enlightened. Yeah, maybe part of me is enlightened because I had this out-of-body experience. So that's really. I've actually met people who had. It was. What was the last one I remember so clearly? But yeah, she saw the light, which is basically a light that comes when you get really high concentration. And she said it's a very special light. And she was going around telling everyone how special she is and how special her meditation was. So that's the problem with having an out-of-body experience, is that you can get really attached to that and start creating even more identity. We're trying to take away identity and just experience life as it is. But then you have a good experience or a nice experience, and then that creates more personality, more identity. And that's kind of the opposite of what we're trying to do here. So from that perspective, it's bad. From the perspective of it being fun, it can be really fun. I mean, it can be quite crazy, but it tends to get the mind going. You didn't do anything wrong in that made you have an out-of-body experience. It just happened, and you had it. If you feel now, oh, I need to have it again to feel good, then it's a problem. But otherwise, just see it as a fun experience, and yeah, enjoyable. But there's not really anything there. There's no point in chasing after that. See, Mindful Mama is saying, good questions. For me, meditation helps me to become more aware of myself. I, for example, have a goal to not react on things, but instead act in interacting with my kids. When I just try to feel good cycling, I don't really practice these things in daily life. By meditation, I train my awareness to be aware of myself when I react. Yeah, I would say that the definition there as between meditation and just enjoying being is that the meditation is when you're deliberately trying to practice that muscle of being aware. So it is a bit different, but don't get into the trap of feeling like, oh, I'm not meditating, so I'm doing something wrong. One of the things that I believed and ran into a lot while I was ordained was that the more you meditate, the better it is. Preferably you should be meditating the entire 24 hours of the day. So it's not enough just to meditate during the day. You shouldn't meditate while you're sleeping. But at the same time, I met a lot of people that have been meditating for 30, 40, like decenniums, not centuries, yeah, decenniums, like tens of years. And they just became like robots when they meditated that much because they were so good at catching things coming up. So just sitting and just meditating is not the answer. That's something you do to practice. It would be the equivalent of trying to cut down a tree, but you sharpen your axe and you have the sharpest axe in the world. Like just looking at it would cut your eyes, but you never put the axe to a tree. So then what's the point of sharpening the axe, kind of? Sure, it's really sharp. And if you happen to run into a tree, or like you wouldn't run into the tree, but like a branch, it would just fall off by itself. But you need to use that awareness. So there is a difference, yeah. See if I missed any questions. I tend to think of meditational experience as the thing was, I had so many of them while I was ordained that they just lost their meaning in the beginning, and they felt very special, and I felt special, and I got carried away with that. I would sit and have imaginations. One of my favorite ones would be like, oh, I would learn to levitate, because I would get these superpowers, and I would levitate, and I would float above the ground, and I'd float down to the beach, and I would just pull out of the ocean all the heavy metals and all the plastic and all the iron and all the stuff that people had dumped, and weapons and nuclear waste and stuff, and I would just pull it up and have it levitating in balls. And they're like, well, what am I going to do with those balls? Like, that's all that bad stuff. Oh, I would send it to recycling. Yeah, but what country should get all that stuff? Should I send that to Sweden, or like, what would I do with it? Completely lost in my mind with these fantasies of powers. It's just a waste. I've wasted most of the time I was meditating. I probably wasted that time with fantasies, and that's the thing. You need to really, you can't just say, "Oh, it's a waste." Like I get it. No, you have to really look at it and see it is a waste. It doesn't lead to anything. So what if you can see it in other places besides it? You're still gonna suffer. You still feel like, oh, if I can just have that thing over there, then I'll be happy. You haven't really solved the problem. There is a story of the Buddha when I actually made a video. I can't remember what the name was. When yeah, I start the video with the story of the Buddha when he walked down a river, and there was a famous what do you call them, Hindu, not monk, but yeah, a Hindu priest, let's call it that. And he'd been meditating, and he could kind of make ashes come from his hands, and he did that to impress the Buddha. And the Buddha walked up to the fire, picked up the ashes, and did the same thing. And then he said, oh, he did something else. And then finally he said, oh, I'm going to really impress the Buddha. So he started levitating and levitated over the river, and thought, now that's going to show him how good I am. And then the Buddha walked down, and he crossed the river on the bridge that was down the lake. The idea is that superpowers, seeing things that aren't there, and like these extrasensory things, or powers, or magic, like they're called, I mean, they're fun, but they don't really lead to the end of suffering. Let's see. But I think it's amazing to feel happy while inside. Yeah, that's really good too, if you can. Sophie, how often a day, a week should I meditate? I read that meditating too much can be harmful. I don't know if that's true. It's actually a better question than you might think. I made a video, I think it's called Can Meditation Be Dangerous? I think ex-Buddhist monk reveals stuff. I don't remember the name. Yeah, meditation can be debilitating. Meditation can make it difficult to function in daily life, because it can bring things up that you aren't ready for. And when that happens, it can be very difficult to go to work, to be a partner in a relationship, to be a mother or a father, and those things can really make life difficult. You can also go through, like, as was described before, but like all these sensations that come up, tensions. Like I've had like Kundalini awakenings non-stop since I think 2010, so it's like 15 years, and that's completely wrecked my life, my sleep, and like been incredibly difficult. So yeah, it's not dangerous per se like that, but it can make life difficult. It's not a linear curve where everything just gets better. What I've heard, and what I tend to tell people, is that if you keep it under 20 minutes, then generally speaking, you don't they say at least that then you don't have time to activate these parts that really get this going. But then again, was that because of the meditation that you had those issues, or was that actually something you had before and the meditation just helped that come to the surface and it would have come up anyway? It's like, it's difficult to say. I personally, if I would choose, I would sit morning and evening. I don't have a timer. I just sit until my meditation is done, which is usually 30 to 50 minutes, generally speaking, what it takes. But I can stop earlier or later. It's not really a big deal. In the beginning, I recommend you have a timer so you know how long to sit, because in the beginning it's not quite as easy to just sit until you're done. If you want to have a good time, I recommend 20 minutes. It's a really good, easy time. Doesn't bring up too much deep stuff. I was just saying, the difficult thing I find with the definition of meditation as awareness is that the definition can dissolve at times. Like, I sometimes find that I'm so deeply aware that I'm no longer aware. Yes, I understand that. Almost like being in a trance, hypnotized by the constant movement of the breath, but I'm no longer aware of the fact. Absolutely fine if that happens. Don't worry about it. Just go with it. Just curious, what does it matter? Does it give you something good or bad so you feel reach something or just enjoy it? I don't know. It's just strange for me to sit down with the aim of being aware and for that very practice to dissolve it. So the thing is, it's kind of when you observe the observer disappears, kind of. There's still a sense of self there, but the awareness part changes, and it can be, I understand, it can be confusing. It can be rather confusing. So, I mean, the main thing is just to be okay with whatever happens. And sometimes what you're experiencing is going to be a bit uncomfortable. Meditation is not always comfortable, for sure. So if that happens, then, and again, I don't define meditation as awareness. I haven't actually heard that definition, but I am sure there is someone who defines it as awareness. It would be more correct, I think, to say using your awareness in a particular way. And then when you use that, because what happens very likely when you're doing it, so you focus on your breath and you have, I'm observing here, and then all of a sudden you dissolve, we talk about non-centricness quite a lot, you feel non-centric, more towards non-centric. So you no longer have the perspective, okay, I'm feeling me here and observing the breath here, and there's a perspective going here. When that disappears, it's like the awareness feels like it's gone. It's different somehow. It just feels different. And if you start looking at that too much, it's going to fall apart, and all of a sudden you have the perspective again. So the key here is to just be aware of it happening and not stress it too much. Very nice discussion. It's actually getting late and it's time to meditate. Just have some drink. I feel my voice getting a little bit hoarse. Today is Monday, so we'll have a guided meditation. For those of you who are new, we usually do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is a way of coming back to the senses. It'll be quite short today because I'm actually feeling my voice giving out a little bit. And we always have a discussion before with this, which is really fun. It's been interesting holding like this. It's a little bit more personal, actually. It's quite nice to sit like this. I might do a meditation outside one day. It's been such nice weather, I could have done that. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is a way of coming back to our senses. We say out aloud 5 things that we can see, 4 things we can feel, 3 things we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. And the whole idea is to do that without getting us involved. So I see a remote control. When I see this remote control, I look at the reflections. I see how there's like digits here and it's dusty. I know where this is. I know what it does. I know the price of it, and I know everything about that, and it gives me a feeling towards it. But we're trying to go beyond that and just see lights, texture, shadows, shapes, surfaces, letters, stickers, like how all of this kind of appears without getting a feeling of, oh, I know what that is. But instead, imagine how a infant would see it. They wouldn't know what that is. They're just like curious. Oh, look at the lights. Oh, look at the reflections. This is glossy. Oh, that's fun. That's why a child will look at neon lights and go, whoa. Oh my God, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. We will look at neon lights and say, oh my God, it's a strip club. But that looks so old and 80s and corny, because we've seen that. We know what that is. So we're trying to get the perspective of an infant, but still having the mind that we have, which means that you wouldn't necessarily try to eat poop just because it has crayons in it and looks interesting, because you're still an adult. You still have your sensibilities as a functioning adult being. Hopefully, I'm assuming, if you're here. I don't know, maybe you don't. If so, then I'm sorry, I'm not sure I can help you. So I see the remote, I see a microphone, I see the shadows of the microphone, I can see the texture, I see the light shining on it. Very interesting. I see a painting of myself. I see a light bulb. And I can see a Buddha statue. There's 5 things that I could see. And again, just say them out for yourself aloud, wherever you're seeing. Not the things I'm seeing, obviously, but the things you're seeing on your end. Next, 4 things we can feel. I can feel the blanket on my knees. So I can feel what it feels like to touch this. I can feel it both with my hand, but I can also feel it on my leg as I'm running my hand over it. What does that feel like? I've done this thousands of times, so I know what that is, but imagine that you're feeling it for the first time. What does that feel like? I can feel my wooden sofa. I can feel my beard. And I can feel my fingers. Four things I could feel. Next we take 3 things that we can hear. I can hear air running through my nose. I'm a little bit stuffy. I can hear the fans of my computer. And I can hear the air conditioning humming in the background. 3 things that I could hear. Next we take 2 things that we can smell. I can smell sweat. I can smell something sweet. Not sure what it is. Finally, we take 1 thing that we can taste. I can taste rooibos tea. I will put everyone here and we will try to do the meditation and see how it goes. So for today's meditation, I want you to start by focusing on your breath. Start becoming aware of air moving inside of you. We're not looking for a particular spot where we can feel the air moving. We're not even necessarily looking for the feelings of air moving inside of you. Instead, it's just awareness that breath is happening that we're looking for. We will also do something a little bit different today that we started doing last week, which is that we will actually use this awareness that we're cultivating, the ability to use our mind and focus on specific things, to then look at how we make it difficult for ourselves to enjoy being here, to look at why we make it so complicated to just be alive, which is the whole reason why we're doing this meditation. Just observing the breath in and of itself is, I mean, it's a good tool to have, but we ultimately want to use that tool to do something, which is why we're going to be moving into a bit more practical application of using meditation, which I haven't done so much because it's a little bit difficult to do when it's not a personal conversation. But we will try, and so far it seems to be working quite well. The most important thing when we're doing the breathing meditation is to, first of all, be kind to yourself. Be okay with your thoughts coming in. This is not about stopping your thoughts. This is not about achieving some kind of state or stage. This is just about learning to come back over and over and over again to your object of meditation, which happens to be our breath in this meditation. To make it a little bit easier, we will do an exercise where we count from 1 to 8 and then down again from 8 to 1. And I will do this together with you for the first time, and then you can do it by yourself. After a while, we will stop doing that and we will focus on seeing how we are creating distortion inside of us. So, breathing in and out. 1. In and out. 2. In and out. 3. In and out. 4. In and out. 5. In and out. 6. In and out. 7. In and out. 8. In and out. 7. In and out. 6. In and out. 5. In and out. 4. In and out. 3. In and out. 2. In and out. 1. Keep on counting your breath, going from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1. As you breathe in and out. 1. In and out. I want you to keep on having your awareness on the breath, being aware of breath happening. And at the same time, I want you to check in and see, how are you doing right now? Are you enjoying sitting here? Are you feeling good? Is it good to be alive? And if it's not good to be alive, see if you can find out why. Was there something that happened before that made you feel bad? Usually we don't have to look back far to find that we had an argument with our children. There was something that you disagree with that you saw on the TV. There was something that is going to happen tomorrow that you find out about that made you feel stressed, and so now you're not feeling good anymore. If you can focus on what happened, just find that thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It might be a simple thing like you looked in the fridge and there was no butter because your partner had forgotten to buy butter, and now you're upset with them. And because of that, you're being a little bit grumpy, feeling a little bit bad. If you just look, what did it feel like before you found out that there was no butter? Usually you feel that just before that bad thing happened. That wasn't even a bad thing, but the thing that you got irritated at, you probably felt quite okay. Or at least better than you felt after you found out that thing. See if you can go back and see, life was better before that. And then, because of this thing that I now find so terrible, so difficult, I'm choosing to not be happy, to not enjoy being here because of this little thing that happened. And it's not that this one thing ruined your life, but 100 things like that, 1,000 things like that, 10,000 things like that, which we get presented with every single day when watching the news, social media, YouTube, advertisement. Everywhere you go, there is something that is constantly creating pressure on you, making it difficult to feel good. So as an exercise, just look back and see, can you find something that made you feel bad? Again, doesn't have to be a big thing. And then just see, what did I feel like before that? See if you can find your way back to enjoying being here. Enjoy and appreciate, like they would say in Prime. Realize that being angry and upset about that thing leads nowhere. You're just hurting yourself. There's only one moment ever happening, which is now. Constantly evolving, constantly changing, but it is always now. And you are choosing to feel bad because of whatever it was that happened before. Look at that. Feel that. See if you can feel your way back into feeling good again. It's easy to feel bad or get upset that you're not able to let go of that difficult feeling, which is an even sillier thing to do. You're basically feeling bad about feeling bad, as if though it wasn't enough to just feel bad. If you're really talented, you might even feel bad about feeling bad that you're feeling bad. I'm not sure how many steps of that you can go, but the mind and the self is incredible at making us suffer. So be forgiving for yourself. Be accepting. Be okay with what your experience is. It's okay if it doesn't work, if you're still finding it difficult with that thing that happened. We're not trying to force it through. We're just trying to experience it, to see what happens. And if you're feeling good, if you're feeling happy, then just keep on enjoying feeling good. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. If you feel overwhelmed by your emotions, just lean back into your breath and use that as your anchor. It's always there with you, always available if you need it. We're not trying to solve all of our problems in 20 minutes, not even 20 days or 20 months. This is a lifelong process, and it starts right now. There's no stress, there's no worry. We're just doing the best we can, minute by minute, day by day, week by week, as we move forward. Keep this technique with you throughout the day, and you see a trigger happening. When you notice, oh, that person looked at me strangely, and all of a sudden, I'm ruining my experience. For some reason, I am choosing to feel bad. Or you look at the news and you see someone you don't like, and all of a sudden, you choose to feel bad. They did this to me. They're making me feel this. When you look at it closely, you'll see that they are not doing that. You are doing it to yourself. You might not have any control over it yet. It might be difficult to not do it so far, but eventually you'll be able to see that nothing on the outside or inside has a direct correlation with how you feel and your ability to enjoy being right here, right now. Thank you. That was a really nice sitting. I hope you enjoyed the little bit different way of sitting, that we actually go into the application of what happens after the meditation. Since I find that to be the most important part and also the most fun part, it's fun to do it during the meditation as well. Nice. I hope you all enjoyed it. I did. And I will see you on Thursday. Hey Aja, nice to see you. I will see you on Thursday again. I actually have a question, because I was discussing about this with someone. Nice, thank you. I'm happy you feel calm. It's like when you start peeling away these layers and really allowing the feeling good to come out, it seems so silly to not feel good. But then this big thing comes and rattles us again. But doing something like this together really helps. Anyway, I have a question for you. Actually, it's late now. I'll do that next time. But if you want to think about it until next sitting, I am curious what it is that you want from me, why you're coming to see my videos in these evenings. What is it that you want? And I don't mean that in a bad way in any way. I'm simply asking because I want to understand in what way people want to be helped, or what it is that you want to be helped with, because usually people come here because there's something they want help with. So until next time, I would really appreciate it if you would think about what it is you want from the videos that you look at. Is it just meditation? Is it actually something you want to overcome? Is it that there's a technique you want to learn? Or is it understanding how to feel good and really enjoy being here? What is it that you're looking for? I would be very happy to hear more about that. So either you can, if you're not in the Discord channel, that's actually the best place to join to discuss that. Otherwise, next Thursday, this Thursday, I'll be very happy to hear more about that. Have a good week until then, and I will see you soon. Sorry about the confusion with the stream, but this worked also. I'm just not sure how to turn off the stream. Let's see, how do I do this? This is a bit embarrassing. Okay, here we stop. Bye everyone.